it's your parents growing up. That's your idol and everything else. So if they can continue to be your idol once you become an adult, then they're doing something special.
They love the land. They've ranched for a long, long time and are tremendously good at what they do.
I think they're great role models of what a parent should be, what a rancher should be. I feel all the choices they've made has not been for the betterment of themselves. They've always done it for their family and for Florida agriculture.
They are humble, hardworking, and so passionate. I don't know anybody who deserves this honor more than they do.
For generations, the Lightsey family has raised cattle in Florida. Today, Lightsey Cattle Company is the 8th largest ranch in the United States, operating over 36,000 acres of land, including Brahma Island, one of the largest freshwater islands in North America. For the past 5 decades, the stewards of this land have been Cary and Marcia Lightsey, a couple who have dedicated their lives to preserving the old Florida way of life.
I'm a 6th generation Florida cracker, and actually a 14th generation in the cattle business in the United States. Ever since I was 3 years old, I wore a cowboy hat, and all I wanted to do is leave with my dad, ride a horse, work cows. That's what I wanted to be at 3 years old, is a cowboy and raise a family and do what I'm doing now. That was always the plan.
While attending Brandon High School, Cary met his future wife, Marcia. Though she did not come from an agricultural background herself, she would soon fully embrace the ranch life.
I had never worked cattle before. I'd not been around cattle. So once Cary and I met, I had to learn pretty quickly. I learned a lot from his mother. His mother was kind of my mentor. I learned probably more from her than I actually did from Cary. Well, in 1973, Cary's father passed away exactly 3 months before we got married. It really was very hard, extremely hard on the family. There was no will written, so the family was hit with a very heavy estate tax.
So my mom, when we got our first bill for our estate tax, she said we need to sit down and talk and do y'all want to stay in the business? And we said, yeah. I remember her saying we're going to have to tighten our belt and grit our teeth and toughen up if we're going to make it, because it's going to be hard to do.
We sat around and had some pretty heavy discussions. If we were to sell everything that we owned, it would not even cover the tax. So we just said, no, we don't want to do that. We're not afraid of work. We're not afraid of just tightening our belts.
It was a daunting task ahead of them, but their tenacity and love for the land would ultimately save the ranch. Over the next decade, Cary and Marcia tried various ways to make the most of their land, diversifying their business into citrus, watermelon, and guided hunts on Brahma Island.
I guess probably one of the biggest things we did as far as diversifying and taking up a lot of our time was in the early 70s, we started wild boar hunts. We started introducing the exotic animals. We have all different types of exotic deer, sheep, goats, antelope, buffalo, you name it. But then it kind of got into the fun times when, the Tampa Bay Bucks had won the Super Bowl and they all wanted to come out. And from there we got, different celebrities to come just throughout the year. That was a lot of fun to meet. And so that kind of made it fun.
With the Lord on our side, working hard, we was able to start chipping away at paying the estate tax.
As they adjusted to a new lifestyle, the couple found time to raise a family, making sure to pass the ranching tradition on to their children.
Growing up, we realized pretty quick, kids work on the ranch. We were outside all of the time. We were with our animals. We showed steers growing up. We were always giving shots in the cow pens, helping out work the calves, pushing the cows up, parting the cows. We learned how the whole process works.
I started going with my dad when I was still in my diapers. Every day after school, my dad would pick me up at the bus stop and take me to work. When I played football, after practice, I would go to work. Back then, we had very few employees, so we did everything.
I mean, even on Christmas Eve, if there was a freeze, then we would get up and we'd be out checking the pumps in the groves before we were opening Christmas gifts or celebrating Christmas. It's just, you know, the ranch always came first, and it was fine with us. It was just the way we grew up.
You know what's helped our business more than anything? I've always had a love for conservation. I could see when we started seeing developments everywhere that this state's not going to be sustainable. And then I asked myself, why am I doing all this and have all these beautiful grandchildren? You're going to have a lot of great-grandchildren if they're not going to have a decent place to live.
They were one of the first families to embrace placing conservation easements on their properties. And in many instances, when they did, they expanded their footprint.
Conservation easements allowed Cary and Marcia to sell the building rights of their property back to the state, preventing all development in perpetuity. The Lightseys were able to reinvest the money and buy more land, expanding their operation while simultaneously protecting Florida's ever-dwindling undeveloped lands.
When I first started living here on the ranch, there was probably a large misconception between a conservationist and a rancher. It's taken a lot of years to finally figure out that ranchers are conservationists, that we're all working for the same thing.
I remember not too long after my parents did one of the first conservation easements, my dad received a letter in the mail from a developer from Tampa saying, I just cannot believe you would do this to your kids. You would sell the most valuable part of the land right out from underneath them. And my parents just didn't see it that way, and we don't either.
We was able to do an easement, take that money and get another ranch and grow and have the serenity of knowing that we just protected another piece of land.
In the early days, there was people say, Cary, I'm scared to death of those easements. He'd say, no, you ought to consider them. And really, in the last 30 years, people that were nervous about them are now pursuing selling them.
A lot of these people ended up calling my dad. He really just walked everybody through the whole entire process when he didn't have to, or he could have charged them or whatever, and he never did. He just wanted as much land in Florida protected as we could get.
What means the most to me is Brammer Island. It's got a 12,000-year-old Indian village on it. Got the most endangered species of anywhere in the United States. It just almost seems like that God spent the 8th day building the island and says, here, save it, keep it the way it is, and that's what we do. A lot of people think we're crazy for taking an island that's all lakefront and fixing it where you can't develop it, but I sleep a lot better at night now, knowing it's protected.
The Lightseys find time to be involved with a variety of programs promoting ranching, conservation, and the youth in agriculture. Cary and Marcia have been highly active in the Cattlemen's and Cattlewomen's associations, with Marcia having served as a director in the American National Cattlewomen's Association and president for both Florida and Polk County Cattlewomen. She also promotes literacy through Ag in the Classroom, reading books about the history of Florida agriculture to school children, and inspiring the next generation of Florida farmers and ranchers.
Well, yeah, I mean, I love what I do so much, and I might be accident prone, I don't know. But right now I got a broke foot with 8 broken bones and 6 broken vertebrae. When I went to the trauma center, the guy there with my neck said, you know, you've been here 8 times. When you're gonna slow down. But when you love something, got compassion for it, it's just hard to slow down. But I'm gonna have to start removing myself away from the cow pens and just look in and not get into them. I just love it that much. And I think the Lord's got a mission for me to keep me here.
With their 3 children and 9 grandchildren, all involved with the family business, Cary knows he'll have good help well into the future.
My dad has the adage that you could take a Lightsey and move them somewhere else and they're still going to own at least one cow because it's in our blood. It's how we're made up.
It's amazing how proud I am of them making a living off the ranching business. I get up one morning and we're all sat on our horses. All the grandkids are there. And we got 300 head of cows to work that day, and then there's a beautiful sunrise, and you look at your grandkids, everything's going smooth, and you look at your future sitting right in front of you.
When I think back about the time span between when I first met Cary in high school and now forward 52, 53 years later, it's been a rough road. It's been a hard road, but I think it's quite an accomplishment with not only what we've achieved during that time, the families that we've raised and the children and the grandchildren that we've raised. You know, we just give it all to the Lord. I mean, we're just here for a short period of time, and He's basically given us, you know, this to just be stewards of the land. We're just stewards for Him. We try to take care of it to the best of our ability. We just hope we did a good job.